So, one of the most common questions that I get as a veterinarian is at what age do I consider my rabbit and my guinea pig senior? It's a great question. We're all aware of the different stages in the journey of our pets' lives, and we want to be conscientious of the things that we should be considering with those life stages. So, the first thing in terms of how we determine what age is we need to remember that they're all individuals. So, we can make generalizations, but we want to look specifically at our pet. What is their breed? What is their lifestyle? Have they had underlying other issues along the way? Because all of those factors do make a play in when we want to make that dietary transition. In generalization, though, with ages, typically rabbits at the age of 5 and older and guinea pigs at the age of 4 and older are the times that we start having conversations about things we may want to change in relation to a senior pet. So, we're all really aware of the importance of good wellness and preventative care. So, another common question I get with senior pets is how often should I bring them into my veterinarian? Typically in adult animals, a once a year physical exam with your veterinarian gives us that opportunity to evaluate them and really gives us a good opportunity to look for disease. Obviously, as animals age, unfortunately, there are age related changes that we may see potentially associated with disease. So, I do recommend that you work with your veterinarian to get your animal in at least twice a year, ensuring we're getting that good weight check, that good physical examination, and that may even warrant additional diagnostics such as blood work and radiographs. So, another key factor to think about as our animals age is what do those changes mean in terms of our diet? And obviously, with a hindgut fermenter like rabbits and guinea pigs, we understand that fiber and hopefully a diversity of fibers is at the root of that nutritional need. So, what do we want to consider differently as our animals age? Number one, we don't want to change our reliance and our consistency in offering the largest diversity of grass hays that we can. The bigger the diversity we can offer for these animals, the more likely we're going to get consistent intake. However, as we begin to see age related changes, potentially associated with weight gain or potentially weight loss, maybe we see a loss of muscle mass or other issues associated with arthritis, there are situations where we may want to consider bringing in other types of hays, namely alfalfa, to the nutritional equation. Alfalfa is still going to bring good amounts of fiber, but is going to bring an additional amount of protein that can be useful in these animals as they age. So we've talked a little bit about hay, but what about the other parts of that nutritional equation? Let's talk a little bit specifically about pellets and what do we want to think about nutritionally, specifically ingredient wise, when we look at that senior related diet. First and foremost, with rabbits, we want to think about the types of proteins that are in that diet. And with proteins, we're obviously talking about amino acids, those essential building blocks to muscle and other important physiological things. So we want to think about additional levels of protein, number one. We also want to evaluate the benefit of additional antioxidants. We know antioxidants can help to slow that age-related process and kind of combat that oxidative stress that can naturally occur. Lastly, we want to think about prebiotics. One of the most important things in a senior animal is to maintain a healthy GI tract, specifically to support the microbiome that live in the hindgut. Utilizing different types of prebiotics in a diet of a senior animal can be beneficial to support that hindgut. So just like we talked about in rabbits, what do we want to think about when evaluating a guinea pig diet for our more elderly patients, our senior animals? First and foremost, we don't ever want to forget about the importance of that diversification of fibers. We know that's going to support dental health as well as digestive health, and it'll decrease the likelihood of obesity as these animals age and potentially become less active. Number two, we want to think about the inclusion of antioxidants. Antioxidants have a lot of beneficial properties, especially in animals as they age, as they can combat the natural occurring oxidative stress related process. And number three, we want to think about prebiotics, things like mango-oleosaccharides and fructooleosaccharides. Prebiotics are food for the microbiome that lives in the hindgut. The happier we can keep those bacteria, the more effective they're going to be at fermenting fiber and the more healthy that ecosystem is going to be. So let's talk a little bit about supplements. We're all aware of how popular supplements are in the dog and the cat world, and many of us ourselves probably take supplements. Supplements are an important part of the nutritional health and well-being equation, but we want to look at supplements through the lens of the individual. We want to evaluate what potential challenges they may have or what potential diseases they may have faced and really consider utilizing supplements specifically for those purposes. We also want to make sure that the supplements that we use are specifically formulated for these species. It would be easy to take dog and cat supplements and potentially think about using them in rabbits and guinea pigs. However, that would be a mistake and could actually lead to nutritional issues. We want to stay focused on a high fiber basis and look at appropriate plant-based nutrients such as herbs and other nutraceuticals that are targeted for specific types of diseases. So we've talked a lot about nutrition, but equally as important is enrichment. And hopefully you guys are already doing different types of physical and mental enrichment for your animals at home. But the question I get is, how should that change as my animal ages? It is important for us to understand that behaviors, activities, and capabilities of animals as they age are going to shift. We want to keep those factors in mind as we look at how we provide enrichment. However, the importance of enrichment does not absolutely diminish. If anything, we want to focus on more enrichment. We want to continue to stimulate those animals to be as physically active as is possible, and we want to continue to challenge them to be mentally enriched in their environment.